because we've been here in the same neighborhood now for 18 years, and we know almost everybody, as I'm sure surprises no one. Everybody knows Cage, right?
And if you didn't buy that LeBron, you could have bought all 6 of the houses.
No, so forget about the houses for a second. That's
Okay.
not where I'm going. It's not where I'm going. Not about me. This is not about me at all. Just stay with me, okay? And the audience, stay with me too, because I guarantee you get bing, little light bulb. You ready? Because it's what happened for me. And my wife said, "Hey, they've been there for like a year. They've been there for like 18 months. That house has been there for like a year and a couple of months.
Flippers.
So what's going on?" And we had a conversation about it. And she was very smart. And she said that those people are probably over leveraged in their homes because the market, the way that it was the last couple of years, home prices have gone up a lot. And you were able to borrow money cheaply, 2%, 2.5%, 3%. And a lot of people took what's known as a variable interest mortgage, okay? Which meant that it could be something that if you didn't lock in, can change. If you do a home equity line of credit, it moves with the interest rate when the Fed moves the rate. And when the Fed moves the rate 75 basis points, it changes your loan a lot, especially when you're buying a $750,000 house. I don't live in a fancy neighborhood, but I'm using those numbers just as a little, a little example of, what a percent or two move in the market is. And keep in mind, this was a market where the mortgage was 3%, and now it's 6 and change, 6. That means your interest being charged on your home is double. And she said, I wonder if a lot of these people are looking to get out now after a little bit of a run up in price, and they can't really or don't want to pay the additional interest on these properties. And I thought back to my own situation when I bought my house in 2004. And remember, guys, hobby does this too. Okay, if we're talking about these things as asset classes, real estate, art, stocks, you name it, right? In 2004, I bought my house almost at the peak of insanity as far as lending. It was like another year or 18 months after. And I remember people gave me, a pre-qualified mortgage for $1 million. There's no friggin' way I could have ever afforded that. I couldn't even afford it now. But they were being liberal with the money, and they were saying, you know what? We'll lend you the money. Just come here and we'll give you the cash. Come on over and, you want some cash before the National? We got the cash. Hey, you want some cash before you buy your house? We'll give you a mortgage, no problem. And the rates were interesting, and the rates went up a little. And the rates were, again, at that point in time, 6%. And a lot of people were doing, variable loans, home equity line of credits to kind of, expand their borrowing capacity. And all of a sudden, when the home prices went down, people owed 125, 130% of the value of their house. And for a while there in 06, 07, 08, 09, people actually walked away from their mortgages. They were called underwater mortgages. If they sold their house, it wouldn't be enough to pay for what they owed. And they walked away. They said to the bank, it's yours. I'm not paying a mortgage anymore. Go right ahead. It's yours. And
so real quick, for idiots like me. So $750,000 house, 3% interest rate, you're paying $3,162.
So that's just your interest. You gotta.
No, that's your monthly payment. $750,000 house, 3%.
3%. Okay.
$3,100.
You must be putting something down and all that other fun stuff, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Same $750,000 mortgage, 6% interest rate, $4,497. So almost $1,400 a month difference.
Right. So what amounts to approximately, $18,000 a year in additional money.
And you're saying basically. Not only is that $750,000 they bought at the top, that also that value of the house went down $100,000?
Yes, because the other people in the neighborhood, the comps that you're talking about, now when they try to borrow, someone who was able to afford a house and pay $3,000 a month, and it would have been a $700,000 house, that $3,000 a month is now only a $600,000 house. So people aren't able to borrow now because the monthly payment now is up from $3,000 to $4,500, you can't
So
afford
they're getting
that bigger
squeezed
house.
from two sides. The interest has gone up, so they owe more per month.
And what people are able to afford in the neighborhood for a comparable house is coming down. So your home value is coming down at the same time. So what happens is
interest on an expensive house, even though your house is cheap.
You're paying interest on a home at the value that it was, and the value is coming down, and you probably overextended, and the amount that you thought you were going to be paying for the home value is now more because of variable. Now, guys, obviously this is different in cards. I mean, there are people taking loans against their cards, and it's kind of what I was thinking about and stuff like that. But if you think about, I let in their businesses that have come in, and you see where I'm going. I guess what my thought on it is it's a very interesting thing because I'm drawing a comparison to people who are into cards in the last couple of years at the last couple of years' prices. And if the market does a little, what some people think it might do, is there less money for people to pay for cards? And if there's less money for people to pay for cards, does that bring the value of all these things down? And people are, borrowing money against these things. You got, liquid auctions giving you 80% for your value on your cards. And do we have too much leverage out there? Is there too much borrowing? What's your thought?
I just got off a call with someone where I was seeing how I haven't heard from him in a few weeks. And I called him. I said, "Hey, oh, how you doing, man?" And I know this is someone who was in crypto heavy. And he was, not hurting. He's a successful businessman. But I think at any level, losing, I think maybe even at higher levels of success or like playing at higher levels, the million, I think it hurts to lose 80% of your investments, crypto NFTs and less. And he was like, well, the good news is I wasn't over leveraged, but the bad news, it still hurts. It still takes time to process that loss.